Hi, Justin. How are you going today?
I'm doing excellent, Dharam. It's great to see you. It's 2024 just is rolling along already. I don't know where it's going.
I know. So it's all exciting things are happening, and you're traveling all the way, and just came back from Vietnam, and I'm traveling to Sydney at the moment. And tomorrow morning, I'm actually going back to Dallas. So it's all happening, lots of action. So yeah, tell me. Uh, and yeah, so one more thing, we have been doing this, podcast for some time, and it's getting great feedback. Thank you for your contribution. So, Justin, let's talk about this very important topic, and let me like topic is benefit management for a project in action. So, project program, whatever you want to call it, but benefit management. So, let's clarify the benefit term as what is benefit and benefit management.
Yeah, so benefits certainly can be considered, when you're starting a project or a program, or well, we can just call it a component, whatever we want to call it. Certainly you're going to look at your charters and define what are some of the wanted outcomes, so to speak. Why are we doing this type
Mm,
of question, being able to answer that and being able to, okay, are we providing a benefit to, the customer itself is looking for this particular capability. That can be considered a benefit, of course, depending on internal or external benefits. But looking at that holistically can be perceived as certainly to externally, is your end customer being given a new capability? Is it going to make the public's lives safer or easier? Or and then of course internally, are we looking at wanting more capability or past performance to then go after a larger opportunity in the future? And of course, no company is interested in doing something for free. So of course, there's going to be profitability involved, but then also expanding your own internal capabilities, gaining that work experience and past performance that, at least in the world that I live in, from a defense contracting standpoint, having that past performance is very, very important in that. So, certainly there's going to be, we could go down the rabbit hole, so to speak, with benefits, but keeping it at a high level, the internal and external benefits of why are we doing this work, and the end outcome of what are those desired outcomes that we want to have for all parties involved.
exactly. And remember, we are going back to our PgMP days when you were studying PgMP. Benefit management was one of the very important chapter as a domain. So in benefit, while you have explained very well, but from my side, just to for the in the layman terms, projects, the project or projects can give you output, and combination of project and program can give you outcome out of that. So and then when the outcome is being utilized by the beneficiaries, that become a benefit to the beneficiaries and to the organization. So just a simple example, you have organization implemented new PMI system, project management information system, that can be done by 2, 3 projects collectively. That's the implementation. But outcome will come when the project managers start using it as effectively as should be. Okay, and then when they start using it, inputting the information data into the system, the outcome coming out from that is a report or business intelligence or dashboard information. And that information, when it's used for managing your project program effectively, productivity improvement, doing better project management, program management within utilizing same resources. So that's the benefit to the organization, benefit to the program manager. So that's fair from my side. Now let's look at the questions. What role will sustainability and environmental consideration play in shaping prioritization and measurement of project benefits in the coming days? And how can organizations effectively integrate these factors into the benefit management strategies?
Yeah, well, that is a heck of a question, and whoever can figure this out and do it best, certainly going to be set up for success for many years to come. But I'll start out with, what role will sustainability and environmental considerations play in shaping the prioritization? Certainly from a sustainability standpoint, you can look at it in two ways. Certainly, we're talking about the green initiatives and sustainability in that regard, but also sustainability in the regards of, okay, are we going to be able to do this for a long time? Are we going to be able
Mm,
to support this? Do we have the technology now that is going to take us into the as long as we can look into the future, but is it going to be something where we're going to have to completely start over in a couple of years, or is this some type of a technology that we can, have just upgrade to, not a complete start over, where it has the compatibility to be upgraded and not disrupt operations, to a large extent, and ultimately, if you have huge disruptions, then you're going to likely lose some of your customer base and they're not going to be happy. And so looking at that long term is very critical in these upcoming years. And I think it always has been, but given the pace of change that's happening in our interconnectability throughout the world, I think things are just happening so much faster than they used to be. And so looking at it, really you have to put some great minds together and really kind of plot it out and see some of the scenarios that may be happening in the future. And certainly environmental, where with weather and different things, where even regulations, when you're looking at how governments are really shaping that, the regulations, and certain things, you don't want to use materials that may be completely banned in the next 5 to 10 years. So really looking at an entire picture holistically
yeah.
is going to be critical, and prioritizing that and will ultimately help you be able to understand what truly is going to be the most important from a prioritization standpoint, to be able to then measure the project benefits in the coming years, and how can the organizations themselves, effectively integrate those factors within their benefit management strategies. I mean, you really have to spend a lot of time up front really plotting it out, and even doing some simulations maybe, and
Yeah.
doing brainstorming type scenarios. And I know there's even modeling on computers now that may be able to help depending on the industry that you're in. So really doing your homework up front in entirety, not just looking at your own industry that you're in, but look at the industries that are kind of supportive, or within the realm that your own industry is in. I think you really got to look at that, and be able to make those informed decisions as much as possible. You can't really just have your blinders on and stay in your lane anymore. You really got to look at those other supporting industries that, if you're relying on certain supply chain components from a certain country or anything like that, is that particular component that you rely on, is it well diversified, or is it only pretty much being manufactured in one country? And again, you start looking at it from a overall benefits management strategy. Risk management is in my mind, especially in post-COVID times,
Mhm.
is right up there at the very top, and that is going to really kind of flow through your entire benefits management package and your strategy. I think that is going to be the most important, to be able to then it'll kind of flow, and the answers will kind of come to you a little bit more once you've done your homework in entirety up front.
Most definitely. Yes, yes, you're right. Yeah. So these two things are, I think back of the mind for most of the work is being done at the moment, especially the environmental part, because how environmental or the climate change we're talking about, it is impacting our, the global presence, or the footprint, the carbon footprint, whatever you thought. So a lot of things we need to be considered during the prioritization, and as when measuring the project benefits.
Yeah, and even not only that, when you get into some of the larger organizations where, there's the opportunity to work with your yeah, within the U.S., your congressional representation and being able to, inform them of some of the challenges that you're seeing within industry and preventing you from further growth. There is ways to, number one, to shape the opportunity, whatever it may be, a little bit, but also to really kind of influence certain things that can play to a company's strengths. It's been done for many years, and that's another opportunity that can help really kind of steer your opportunities in a way that goes to the strength of your company.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay, how can organization integrate benefit management into project management methodologies to ensure benefit realization throughout the project lifecycle?
Well, really, again, when we talk about doing your homework up front, again, being so thorough, and you really cannot, I think that, Dharam, you can tell me what your experience is, but I think in our experience, when we win a particular opportunity, usually it's like you're just hitting the ground running as fast as possible, and I think you don't take enough time up front to really sit down and think it all through. You're just, as I use the term all the time, drinking through a fire hose. You got deliverables that are due so quick, to get a project off the ground. You really don't have a lot of time to be able to sit down and make sure everything within your own methodologies as a project manager, you can really kind of think it out and realize the benefits, and really kind of what I like to call knocking two birds out with one stone type of deal. And so that, I think, is the most critical, is allow yourself some time, if at all possible, to really, after you've won an opportunity, to think it all through and map it all out and build your roadmap and how you're going to get there. I think it's always an overlooked task, and sometimes some folks will think that it's not that important, but then all of a sudden you get 2 months down the road and you're going, wow, I really wish we would have done that up front, because now we're behind the 8 ball, and now you got problems, and wow, we didn't realize that we were going to need to do this. And yeah, it becomes, as I like to say, the little things become big things later. And so really taking that time up front, I think, is the most critical to be able to integrate that benefits management within your methodologies of managing the project. Otherwise, you're going to be trying to play catch up, and you'll never catch up.
You perfectly, the way it's most of the time it's like that. When project awarded, and your sponsor, it just get started and get it done. They don't allow you to do your job thoroughly, which you want to, and also sometimes you get carried away. Okay, if you don't want me to do all this thing, let's continue. But it is beneficial for you as well as to organization to spend some time and do proper planning to understand what benefit we're delivering and how we're delivering, who will be responsible, and accountability, and all those things is put on paper. Everybody know roles and responsibilities, and when the right time comes, the benefit achieved, transition and sustain. As simple as that. I know everybody is in the pressure to get the things done, and in the fast word, but let's take a step back and do the good job. And while expectation is getting the things done, let them know, look, if I don't spend time, I will not able to, we cannot talk about the benefit. We just delivering something. Sometimes they're ready to accept whatever they're doing. Okay, fine, no worry. Or sometimes okay, we understand now the criticality of this task, and spend some time and work with the team and provide us a report and regulate that documentation.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I find that is always something that gets shortchanged right up front that ends up costing you in the end.
Yeah. And to your frank, if you can follow the benefit manual life cycle and show them the benefit achieved and transition and sustain, you may find some resistance initially, but they will appreciate the kind of work you've done to make them aware that these are the benefits and this is how the benefits are tracked. So in the end, when the business case and when you compare the business case and the benefit achieved, then you go, yeah, this is what I really want to see.
Yep, and as one of the common themes that we've had throughout all these podcasts is cannot say it enough, is your stakeholder engagement. If you have a good stakeholder engagement, as you just described, Dharam, with letting them know up front, hey, before we shoot the gun and we're off to the races, let's all stop. And even one thing is to be able to bring that customer in, or to be able to help them see the bigger picture and see what the challenges may be. I think that helps give them a better picture as well. And then you're not having that immediate strain on a relationship right out of the gate. I think bringing them in and makes them feel a little bit more part of the team, and you're more of a you really try and find a way to call it a partnership. Hey, we're going through this together. So
Yeah.
that I think is extremely important as well.
Perfect. Thank you. Moving on to next question. What method can organization utilize effectively prioritize risk during the risk assessment phase, ensuring mitigation efforts focus on those with the highest potential impact on the project objective and benefits?
Yeah, since we've kind of really talked about the risk management, and not only that, the stakeholder engagement, I'll say it again. The stakeholder engagement, I mean, even within an organization internally, bringing in your subject matter experts that, sometimes I think when you get into the bigger companies that you become a little more siloed and you forget that you have expertise on a certain issue that you're facing, and realizing that you probably have some of the answers, or, right within your own house. And I think that we always have a tendency to go, we look in our immediate, directorate and go, oh, we don't have anybody, so let's look outside. And I think the first thing is looking inside, working with your HR folks, and of course, a lot of the bigger companies have these internal HR systems where you put your resume in, and that's important specifically for these type of exercises where you're trying to evaluate and prioritize risks and assessing them and see where they kind of fall in the lineup. Bringing your own folks in up front certainly will be helpful, and leveraging their experiences, certainly when you're doing work around the world, having that specialty knowledge of doing work in a specific country or industry. In this past week, I really learned a lot about the being in Southeast Asia with Vietnam and Singapore. While I knew a little bit about the logistics, but really understanding the challenges that they face of when you're chartering a vessel and the specific mission that it's on, and no real ship. While there are some commonalities, there's a lot of specialties of systems depending on the ship. And me trying to understand how you even schedule a crew for that kind of ship, I found it extremely fascinating. And then not only that, is when you're going into different ports of call, and sometimes you're going in different ports that you're not really sure what visa requirements are for your own crew. So getting a bird's eye view of all those different risks and figuring out how that all works, I think was fascinating to me. I certainly plan on leaning on them a little bit more, and of course on my side, with especially the current events and risks to shipping in the certain parts of the Red Sea and the Horn of Africa. There's we shared some great insights as well, at least from the security side. So, but again, being able to leverage your internal folks first, and then of course having friends in kind of neighboring industries will help really give you a true comprehensive picture. And no one organization probably can say they have all of the answers. So again, being able to lean on those to then be able to define those tangible and intangible benefits will really give you again a cost benefit analysis going, oh, we didn't think of this. Well, therefore, all of a sudden that additional cost that we didn't factor in doesn't even make sense for us to even pursue this. And then we just saved ourselves probably millions of dollars in losses by, just leveraging those contacts. So again, looking at it all in a holistic way, I think is extremely important when you're talking about doing work internationally or even within. It doesn't have to be internationally, but any of your industries, I think, is extremely important to then again, it'll flow down through your benefits and objectives that you've set out from the start.
Exactly. Look, every organization has their own way of prioritizing, and you nicely put together how, an example of the Vietnam where you recently did some study or the, part of the course. Fantastic. Thank you. How does compliance provide stakeholder with evidence of success?
Yeah, I think with a compliance officer, that I would call them, I mean, those are kind of your non-negotiables. You must do those type of activities to make sure that you're in compliance, because if you don't, then you're out of compliance, and it's likely going to lead to a huge failure or a company fine, or even greater, the company might go out of business. Certainly in the export control, as I've been talking about international business. If you don't have your I's dotted and T's crossed when it comes to export control, that can literally put a company out of business. And so having those folks involved, again, it becomes down to stakeholder engagement. There's certainly an internal stakeholder that's going to, quite frankly, keep us on the right track. And so, as long as we're able to, from a compliance standpoint, move forward and execute and do it within the laws and regulations of whatever country we're operating in, that is the very definition of success, being able to make sure that we're doing it the right way all the time. And so compliance is a huge part of the overall plan. And so from a stakeholder engagement, they must be involved all the time to make sure that you're taken care of.
Yeah, definitely, because they have a very important role to play. They are the one who can, agree to the compliance, and sometimes we have to, put something other important thing because of compliance we cannot continue doing other things. That's where the prioritization happen, and those folks are actually plays very important role. So yeah, so compliance during especially compliance or regulatory requirements. We need to work with stakeholders, senior stakeholders too. And yeah. So what is the need for benefit manager role in the current and future scenario?
So, yeah, they probably aren't going to be a sole benefits manager type of job description. They're probably going to be what I call a dual-hatted individual, where they're probably going to be working very close to the operation, but then they're going to have a specific role to ensure that benefits are being realized. A lot of times that happens to be the project manager. As we all know, the PM usually gets all of it dumped on them. But again, as a solid PM, when you're in it, you're going to find folks within your team that are very niche oriented, where there's going to be someone that pays attention to detail even probably more than yourself, and being able to give that role or give them a focus on that. Number one, it helps you in managing your overall project, but not only that, it allows someone else to grow in their own role as well to get them ready for the next step in their own careers. But for a benefits manager, and again, as you're in the thick of it and trying to execute on a project, and you have all the other things that you're dealing with, having someone specifically focus on the benefits is going to be key, because really you got to make sure that you're following your original plan, and if not, what are you doing to adjust a course? Because a lot of times those little things can get forgotten, and then all of a sudden you're again in that catch-up phase where you're just not going to be able to achieve it. So that could certainly lead to lower profits. Your stakeholder engagement may be lower. The overall benefits is really kind of one of those that I call like just keeps you on the straight and narrow and focused on the things that you need to, but also will bring the things that need attention to you immediately. So it is probably a role that doesn't necessarily get the glamour that it should. And it probably doesn't necessarily show up on a performance report, but those are those intangible types that, eventually it will show up on a performance report, but in the thick of it, it's probably not going to be show up. But those type of folks, make sure that as a leader on your project, you are recognizing them, because they're the ones that are making sure that you're executing as to the plan.
Exactly. Just to tell you, like I was interviewed for a role few years ago, and that was for RMS, roads and traffic, RTR, whatever they call now, but they keep changing name, roads and traffic organization. So, and there are a lot of projects happening within Sydney, and they wanted to have a person who will be that role was for the benefit manager. So you're going to work with several projects, and ensuring that they have identified the benefits, they have the benefit register, track them into benefit, and you have a benefit management plan, all kind of things. So that was a specialized role as part of the PMO. And remember, when we're talking larger size complex program, you need dedicated people, especially benefit manager or organization change managers, or legal team, or HR, maybe everything. And that role was actually very, very important, because, ensuring that everybody knows what the benefit they're achieving, and you track them and keeping them on track. Okay, yep, this is where we are, and this is where you are achieving those benefits, and how you're going to transition, when you're going to transition, sustainment. So I think that's, especially the larger size programs or projects, the kind of work you do, this role is can play a very important part in the organization. And initially, when you start talking, we're talking about, you get into you run a project and you just start it. You get started onto that. You don't have time to focus on these things. But if you have a person who's not, directly involved, but also involved as a benefit manager, he can focus on benefit part and keep everybody on track. So that's where I see the importance of this role.
Wholeheartedly agree.
Yeah. Now, on my next question, how do we facilitate social processes in complex project environment? And what kind of challenges do project program manager faces in such turbulent conditions?
Yeah, as we've kind of chatted about already with that risk management and being able to put your risk register, and again, sitting down and thinking, right now we're in Ramadan right now here in the Middle East, and so there's not as much activity happening, and from a social standpoint, that you just have to factor that into your schedule, and being able to understand what your performance is going to be like. And certainly, you're able to understand when Ramadan's going to be, far out in advance. And so you have to plan for it, or there's certain different social cultures around the world that, I know they just got done celebrating the Chinese New Year not long ago as well. So all these different things, when you're working, no matter where you're at in the world, being able to factor some of that in up front will certainly help you, and certainly understanding how that particular country or region does business. Again, that all comes down to doing your homework up front. Really takes care of a lot of the challenges that you might see, where all of a sudden, hey, we've thought of that and we all already know what our risk response is going to be. Otherwise, if you haven't done that, you're trying to you're fighting fire all the time. And so being able to be ready for that and plan for that up front is going to help you in such turbulent conditions, because a lot of times things are not going to go the way you planned it all the time. And so being able to have that flexibility, being able to understand how business is done and the cultural norms in certain parts of the world, you have to be ready for that. And so again, as we always say, you put the time in up front, it's going to save you in the end. And so, but again, social processes, again, bringing in your stakeholder engagement up front, or stakeholders up front, internally and externally. really doing your homework. It is so important, and that will help anyone in a project or program management role really succeed and being able to make decisions in a complex environment when you really kind of have an idea what's coming.
Yeah, that's right. Definitely. Thank you. Thank you for this. Why use a benefit register in program and portfolio management portfolios? How it is different from stakeholder register?
Yeah, talking about that benefits manager, that is why, using a register is just another way to track, hey, these are the benefits that we set out on. This is the reason why we even attempted this particular project or program. So if we're not achieving the benefits, as the PgMP test will go, if we're not able to achieve them, then there's probably a good scenario where you might have a justification to shut the project or program down based on the performance. And so that's really the benefits register is really your KPI, ledger, and being able to make sure that you're achieving things. Otherwise, you may be leading your company down a road to where you're going to lose money. And so again, being part of that up front, it's not something that any of us want to do, but it's something that you really have to look at and being able to track it to provide to senior leadership to make sure that, hey, we are achieving what we set out to do. And if not, is there anything we can do to change it to get on track? And if there's not, then there is likely a scenario where again, you work with your PMO and your senior leaders that you might have to shut it down based on performance. So while that may not be the more glamorous side of it, but that's reality, and we are a business, and so being able to make those decisions is going to help you in the long run.
Yeah. So as we're talking about the register, benefit register, stakeholder register, all, these are living documents, first of all, and the stakeholder register tracks stakeholder, who are our stakeholder, and the negatives, if they are negative, positive, track that part. So let's put on the side. And the benefit register, you mentioned correctly, it is a register where you track, you identify a benefit, and you track the benefit till realization or to sustainment. So having a register, it can be as simple as a Excel spreadsheet with identified the benefits and some number of columns there, and you have a tracking happening, you have a progress measurement happening, you have KPIs, all kind of things are there in the benefit register, and identifying the benefit into the benefit register and track them till closure and transitioning and to sustainment. That's what the benefit of having a benefit register.
And we'll put a shameless plug in there for PMI. If you're a member of PMI, they have a lot of templates for benefits registers, stakeholder registers, things like that, to where if you are a member, you have access to a lot of those type of forms where you're not reinventing the wheel, so to speak. And so you can go on there and download those templates and formulate as to how you need it for your own business.
Exactly. And you can download some of these standards as well. Standard for program management, portfolio management. You will access, or you can at least see the topics, and you can create your own register or the plans. Exactly. But yeah, if you already have availability on the PMI, like projectmanagement.com, all these templates and everything, why not use them, download them? Yeah. Now, my next question is, outcome of project is emotion. Do you agree with this statement? Share your experience.
I got to thinking about this. I at least from the PM standpoint, I will say that, it's really like the project is an outcome of, your blood, sweat, and tears, and which I guess at the end of the day it truly is your emotion. And so, when you sit back at the end and you see the finished product, or my favorite time is when, you start seeing things, systems start getting fired up, and you start seeing, in the electronic security system world, you see cameras, you're seeing, all those different things, and your alarms coming in, and that is to me is one of the most satisfying things, because number one, you see that it works, but
Yeah.
but you start to have those reflections of when you originally bid on the opportunity, to winning it, to getting the mobilization and the design and all those different things, and parts ordered, and overcoming your supply chain shortages. And then when you get on site, maybe there was a big gap between when you won the project versus when you finally showed up, and that how did that lead to different conditions. And so yeah, it truly is, when you think about it, is a lot of emotion, and a lot of people. You think about your team. I kind of equate it as given that we're March Madness here with the NCAA tournament going to be starting shortly. You at the end of every March Madness, you'll see they do a one shining moment, and you look back at all those different teams that overcame so much and triumph, and you get that same type of feeling when you've successfully completed a project, and
Yeah.
you look around at your teammates and you just can't thank them enough. And it truly is an outpouring of emotion. So I do think that it truly is, in a lot of ways, it's a form of love. And you all those nights being away from your family and missing certain events within your own personal lives to make sure that things are staying on track. It really is. And so after thinking about it, yes, it is an outcome of emotion in a lot of different ways. It certainly can be great emotion. Thankfully, I've been blessed to have some amazing um, projects and watched them come to life, and quite frankly, doing things that a lot of folks didn't think we could do. And so that's always an even added bonus, and it creates even a more cohesive team that, hey, we overcame everything, and we proved everybody wrong. And so
Yeah.
those are even the best ones, where you kind of stick your head up a little bit higher in the office at the end of the day. And so, yeah, it really is uh, it's probably the most rewarding part of the job, really. I mean, as we all know, as PMs, you're grinding it, a lot. I
Yeah.
always say, the folks that want to be a PM, I always say, well, let me tell you something. Everybody wants to be a PM until they become one, and then let's see what you're made of. And and some folks, when I've told them that, they didn't understand it, but then they got into it and they go, yeah, you're right. Now I understand. Some of the folks think of they'll see us just chatting with someone and not really doing anything, but the reality is that you eat, sleep, and breathe the projects, as
Thanks.
that is your life. And even the financial side, that's you approach it as if that's your own bank account. So really, it becomes a part of you in a lot of different ways. And I look back fondly, and even some of the biggest challenges that I've faced, I can look back now and say it made me better, and I'm more equipped to handle those type of situations if I'm putting them again. It creates that confidence within you that I've been in that position, and I know what to do when if that time comes again.
Look, you summed it very well. When we, as a project manager, program manager, we put lots of effort into somebody's idea. And when you start, initially you may be thinking, oh my God, so difficult, so complex. I don't know how these things going to work out, how the kind of, resourcing, this is so many lose points. And when you start seeing them becoming reality day by day, and you see that it's completed. Oh my God, this is real. And something was unexpected or cannot happen, may not happen. Now it's actually happened. So yes, you are connected. And believe it or not, you as a project manager has been playing a very active role to make it possible. So in the end, they may see now this supposed to happen like this anyway. But no, it's not like that. You made it possible like that way.
As we call it, sometimes it's herding cats.
I
That's
know.
just what it is. But Yeah, I mean, but at the end of the day, it truly is one of the most rewarding professions. Yeah, I really appreciate the opportunities that I have, and you get to see some amazing things and seeing it come to life. You're like, you can drive by some of those projects and go, I helped do that.
Yeah, and just on the side, last year, I started thinking that okay, I need to have an app which is nobody has, and something unique with all the PMI certification to this. And it was kind of a vague idea. Okay, I start putting things and start making and start looking good. And now it's a point where I'm about to release it very, very soon with the app with the at least start with PgMP and then PMP, then PBA and PfMP and start putting all those things. So I'm excited. So that's where, when we and why I'm excited because I thought, having an app like this is a game changer for everyone, and that's already happening. So anyway, so this is how we are, and looking back when we started versus now where we are, and I think we all should be looking back to where we were, we thought as let's say if you are a mountaineer, and you climbing the Mount Everest, when you reach to the peak at the top, you're not going to look back. I was there a few days ago, which was feeling impossible, all this wind condition, this weather condition, but I'm here. I reached my goal and achieved something in my life. That's a sense of achievement as a project manager we all like to have.
Win each day. Don't let all of everything overwhelm you. Just win the day. Win each day. Put one step in front of the other, like you said, going up the mountain. All of a sudden, keep your head down. Don't look up. And all of a sudden, you'll come out on the other end. And like you said, you're at the top of Everest looking down going, I did it.
Exactly. So, folks, project manager program is very rewarding, and you are the one who making this possible. So, while the journey can be very tough, unknown, complexity is there, and you may feel a lot of emotions around there. Should I be in this profession at all? But you need to believe in yourself and believe there's a light beyond the tunnel, and that's what we can hope for, and we go for that and make it possible. That's where the results and your successes are.
Right.
So thank you, Justin, once again. Your insights and your experience, and the way you explain all these questions. It's very useful, and a lot of people are going to use this information, and hopefully they will become better project manager or benefit managers if they try to do that. So
I appreciate it. Always a pleasure.
thank you once again, and I will see you next time with a new topic. And till that time, wish you good luck.